What's going on, everybody? This is Devontae. This is Reaper Training, and you are now listening to the Reaper Motivation Podcast. I know y'all probably, hold on, let me take out my gum. Y'all probably tired of hearing me say this, but I'm back. Um, so I got a couple things to talk about today. It's actually gonna be a very long podcast. So if y'all actually doing anything, if you guys like at work or something like that, this would be best probably to listen to on the side because we're gonna touch on a lot of stuff today. Um, First and foremost, why I've been on my hiatus. I want to get into that first. And if you guys remember, I want to say not my last podcast, but my podcast before last. Um, I touched on intermittent fasting and dieting and things like that. And I have been going through the roughest, and when I mean the most difficult cut I've ever had since I've been into fitness. This cut, so if you guys look on my YouTube channel, normally my cuts, which is, if y'all don't know what a cut is, it's basically cutting weight. They take anywhere from, for me, for me to lose about 30 pounds, it takes me about 3 months, which averages about 10 pounds a month, which is very fast starting out. Most nutritionists, most trainers will tell you that's too fast. Um, Part of the reason why it happens at the rate it does, or used to happen, is because I train a lot. Most people with a busy schedule, um, such as myself, as I normally am pretty busy, um, they don't have time to train 4 or 5 times a week. And me, during my cuts, shit, I've had cuts where I've trained 8 times a week, 2 workouts a day, 4 times a week. Um, so the weight kind of falls off, especially adding in a calorie deficit on top of that and my intermittent fasting. The weight cuts used to be beautiful. It used to take me no time at all to cut weight. Especially once I got the science down, once I started understanding my body, and then, you know, what works and what doesn't. But this cut has been terrible, and honestly, it's really um with me, one thing I've realized, and this was the blessing and curse of getting in shape to begin with. I've always been overweight. I've always been subconscious about my weight, and it's always been something that is affected my confidence. But once I got in shape, um, and once I just saw how I felt, just saw how people embraced me, how people reacted to me, I fell in love with it. I just fell in love with the lifestyle of it, and just how good I felt, how good I looked in the mirror when I took pictures, when I did everything else. And whenever I gain weight, my confidence shoots down. Like I touched on with my other cuts that I did, I call them transformations on the channel, the YouTube channel. But normally what happens is so it'll be like an injury or something like that that'll affect me and make me gain the weight back. It's never really been. I mean, I guess you can equate it to a discipline thing. It definitely is a lack of discipline at times, but normally is because, for example, like I broke my finger, well, broke my hand basically because I couldn't use my whole right hand. That made me put on about 30 pounds, and then the other time I got my appendix taken out, that made me put on not as much as my other ones. I want to say I've gained about maybe 15 pounds off of that injury, but this time around with COVID, uh, it was a mix of a couple things. And part of the reason why I wanted to bring this up on the podcast is because I know a lot of you guys are chasing your fitness goals. We talk about goals on the channel a lot, and you know, I feel as though me sharing my story of my struggles, especially when I've been to what I would say is the pinnacle of my fitness, as far as not the pinnacle, because you can always do better, but me having lost the weight and gotten in shape before and losing it back, I feel like people could relate to me just a little bit more. But when COVID started, um, I started drinking a lot. Not on a like me being sad. I just was bored, and I've always equated drinking with fun. You know, during the week was grind time for me. It's been like that since I turned 21. During the week, That's for training, that's for work, that's for school, that's for whatever else I got going on. And then during the weekend, I'll go and I'll get me a couple of drinks and have some food. So when COVID started, and I literally couldn't go to the gym, I couldn't go to school, I couldn't do anything. I kind of just started, drinking and partying and just not having the same level of discipline that I had before in life. And then on top of that, which I'm gonna touch on later on the podcast, also, I started focusing way, way too much on women and dating and things like that. And I basically just didn't have all my shit together. I was just playing around. I wasn't doing what I know I could do. And basically, I gained about what I think when COVID started, I might have been around 185, pretty lean, and then I shot up to fucking 220, I believe. And man, it stressed me out. What really stressed me out about it was, like I said, my wait. Well, for one, I stopped doing the YouTube and the podcast just because all of my channel and all of my content is revolved around goals and fitness. And I was like, man, I look like a hypocrite if I'm preaching these things and I'm not in shape, and then I just wasn't feeling comfortable in front of the camera. I think I tried to shoot a YouTube video, I want to say a few months back, and when I looked at it, I was like, ugh, I look disgusting. I was just like, man, I just wasn't feeling it. So I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna keep working on myself. That's why I'm not actually releasing a video of this podcast. I'm still working a little bit. But yeah, I just fell off, and I just was like, man. And I kept trying for this. I want to say I've been trying to cut this weight since this time last year, because I believe June was when I started realizing, man, I'm starting to gain some weight. And I tried it in June. I kept trying it, and then I just realized, man, is that it's time for me to really be serious. And being serious means that I was partying way too much, and it was also the drinking and the partying and stuff like that. It also was affecting my finances. I was sitting back and I was thinking of it there. I was like, man, there was a month last month where my stimulus hit, my paycheck hit for my new job. My new job is actually paying me the most I've ever made since I've been an adult. Um, and so my stimulus hit, my new job check hit, which was a 2 week check, and then I want to say my tax return hit in the same month. And I could not tell you what I did with that money besides just party and do dumb shit. And I was just like, man, your early 20s is a funny time because that's the time that you want to enjoy yourself and have fun and live your life. But I was like, man, I've just lost the balance. And, I've actually had to start cutting off friends. Not from a beef standpoint or from an angry standpoint, but it was just, I had to, is an old saying I saw. Not even a saying. It was an old thing I saw when I was used to watch. I think it was the Hodge twins. It was somebody who said it, but they said something really deep, and it was like, man, if you are a recovering alcoholic, would you hang out with nothing but alcoholics? If you were a former drug addict, would you hang out with nothing but drug addicts? And it hit different because I was like, man, a lot of the people that I'm interacting with don't give a fuck about fitness. They don't give a fuck really about long-term goals. And I was like, man, you know, it's all good and dandy now, but what happens when a few months turns into a few years? And I blinked and I looked and I was like, man, this last year and a half almost, I've not been productive. And I was like, man, it's not it's not me. I have a book that I was working on. I mentioned it a lot. The book is basically finished. I could put it out if I needed to, but I wanted to build up my fan base. But I was like, man, I haven't even. This time, my goal for this time this year was to have my second book done. Whether I release the first one or not, I wanted to write two books, um, different subject matters. But I'm like, I haven't wrote my book. I haven't lost my weight. I haven't gotten my credit to where I need to be. And I was like, man, it's time for a new beginning. And my what I basically want to say is, as far as from a social standpoint, is if you guys need to make those changes, just do it. My favorite movies is one of my favorite movies is Menace to Society, and I remember when he was talking to Kane, the Sharif's dad, and he was like, whatever changes you have to make, it doesn't matter how hard, and it doesn't matter how painful, just make those changes and be great. Because no one gives a fuck about your goals more than you. 100%. I don't care who it is. No one should give a fuck about your goals more than you. And you know, it's gonna mean that you're gonna have to change your surroundings. But I always say, man, if you're hanging around nothing but go getters, if you're hanging around nothing but people who want to be great, it forces that greatness out you. Like one thing I've said, I don't know when I'm gonna get into that relationship. I'm not really planning on it. But one thing I did say was my next relationship, I'm gonna make sure that whoever I'm with is just as into fitness as I am, and not from the standpoint of like, you know, I don't want a big girl or nothing like that. I actually am very attracted to BBWs. That's a whole nother story. But at the same time, if this is my lifestyle, if this is what I want to be, I can't expect to keep that going with someone and spend so much time with someone who doesn't take their body as seriously as I do. I look at it and I'm like, if you're a woman, or if you're a female, if you're a man, if your significant other is working out, he's going and getting it in. You wake up in the morning, they coming in all sweaty, they making a little milkshake. They just went on a run. Would you feel comfortable just being a fat slob? Would you feel comfortable not taking care of yourself? Nah, you're gonna want to do better. I'm like, man, if I demand that, females and friends, if everyone in my life is on that same type of time, man, it's gonna make it harder for me to not be on my shit, you know. And friendships and relationships, like I said, they take a lot out of you. They take a lot of effort. They take a lot of time, and you need to make sure that that person's energy output is the same as yours, or at least similar. You know, um, that's something that I'm really, really starting to understand, and I'm not playing with anymore. That's something that I'm really, that's a goal of mine, is make sure that all my people are on that same type of time, fitness wise and goal wise. Um, so now, my cut has been going a lot better. I want to say in the last month and a half, I've lost about 8 pounds. I gotta weigh myself tomorrow, so we'll see if that trend's been keeping up. If I lost another 2 pounds, that's perfect. That means that I'm right on track. Little side note: if you're losing weight, you want to lose about 2 pounds a week. That's pretty sustainable. That's a good pace to aim for, 2 to 2.5. Like I said, my other cuts were super quick. That's not always the best, but especially if you're just starting out, it's not gonna be that fast anyway, because you're still learning your body anyhow. At this point in time, I've learned my body pretty well. I know what works, what doesn't work, how to fix things, how not to, and then so that's why my cuts are a bit longer, and that's just something that comes with fitness. So hopefully, once I get back to the point I want to be at as far as fitness wise, I'll have some more videos for y'all. I'm definitely gonna start recording these. I definitely want to have more people on them. I gotta get another microphone, and I'm gonna get, I got a few friends with some dope insights. I feel like they would definitely be good for these. But now to get into the nitty gritty, this is what I was really trying to make this podcast for. So, like I said, one of the things I had to change was my life was revolving around females. And when I say revolving around females, as a young man especially, it's very easy. It's ridiculously easy to all you do is think about females. Because as a man, honestly, we wake up, first thing on our mind in the morning is sex. You wake up with, what is it called, morning wood. You know what I'm saying? So it's difficult not to revolve your life around getting females. But me, as using myself, I never had that problem growing up, because in high school and middle school I didn't get any girls. uh I want to say I didn't start actually getting females until, I want to say, like 19, 18. I mean, I was getting them before that, but as far as having sex and things like that, it was like 19, 18. And once I started, I still never allowed them to be a focal point in my life, and during COVID, especially because I went into a drought, I went into a mean drought for a minute, about 2 months. I was like, man, I just was running around here, and everything revolved around females. I'm all over Tinder, I'm all over the Facebook dating app, and I'm getting numbers, I'm trying to holler and all this other dumb shit. And I'm like, man, it just was too much. And I'm just, and then now, I just been telling myself that's donezo. I'm not doing that anymore. And the reason why I bring that up is uh pretty much what I'm actually gonna name this podcast is stop living your life around the opposite sex. Please stop doing that. This is gonna go for males and females. I know I talk from a male standpoint a lot because, well, I'm a man, so I can relate a bit more. But this is gonna go for everybody, man, because the thing is, and what's so critical about this is that going back to my fitness thing, one of the things that made me such a be so happy and so confident during when I'm in shape is when I get to around 190, 185, 180, that's when I get the most choosing signals from females. Like if I walk into a room and I'm 220, maybe a couple girls might look at me if I'm dressed up pretty nicely, but when I'm in shape, it's totally different. You know what I mean? I'm getting looks and things like that. And that affects you. That affects you deeply. You know, that makes you feel, if you're big, it makes you feel less confident. It's like, damn, man, I'm probably fat and ugly now. And then when you're in shape, it's like, oh, this is awesome. You know, I feel good. I feel like I'm back where I need to be. And man, it's just people just revolve their lives about it. And a big thing now is this plastic surgery. Everyone's getting plastic surgery. I know maybe 3 or 4 females right now that's gotten plastic surgery that I'm friends with, and I know another dozen of them that are planning on doing it or saving up, literally saving up money to do it. And you know, dudes, the same thing. Dudes, they go to the gym. All they're doing is just planning on hollering at females. They all day long they hollering at this joint, hollering at this joint. It's like, man, when you stop giving a fuck about the opposite sex, it makes your life so much happier. Cause it's like you don't feel like you have to impress anybody. You don't feel like you're living your life for the sake of other people, you know. And I know the first thing out of everybody's mouth is, no, well, I want that plastic surgery for myself. I want it for life. Let's stop it. Let's keep it a buck. Let's be real. Like this, unless you're gay or something, you don't care about people, or you don't care about other people the same sex as you looking at your body like, oh man, wow, you know, he's really in shape or she's really in shape. And it's not for them. Let's be real. You know, don't get me wrong. I do work out for myself. I do feel better, but at the same time, there is that female aspect to it. That's something that is a part of it. I'd be lying to you if I said it wasn't. You're lying to yourself. You're saying it's not. Let's keep it a buck. Because I feel like all of us, you know, if you've gotten into your peak shape for your body type, I know everyone has experienced, you know, feeling those choosing signals, feeling the difference that people act towards you, and it feels great. You feel happy about yourself. You feel just so much self-esteem built from it. But living your life for that is just not it, you know. And I feel like a lot of that comes from people trying to force love also. You know, I have a friend that I work with, and you know, we've been telling him for the longest, just he's one of those people that he really wants to be in a relationship, so he's always, what they call it, a hopeless romantic, just always fighting for girls, fighting for this relationship. And I remember just thinking like, man, like you're 20, you're in your 20s, bro. Why do you want to be in a relationship so bad? And everyone who's listening to this, hear me out, right? Just hear me out on this one thing. Even if you're older, I mean, you might be in your 30s, might be in your 40s, it'll come. Like, what's wrong with just living life right now? Like, why do you feel the need that you have to be up under somebody? And when you think about that question, it puts things in perspective. And it put things in perspective for me. I was like, what is it about life that I want to be up under a female all the time? I gotta have a girlfriend. I gotta have somebody over. If I go a weekend, I didn't, link up with some joints or have a date, then I'm not shit. Like, why is that the case? You know, you should be able to, you know, I think the first key of happiness is being able to be alone. Spending time alone, being able to enjoy your own company is something that's very important because there's not always gonna be people there. And more than anything else, one thing I love about being by myself is that I have time to self-reflect. And self-reflection is something that's super important. Hold up, let me move into my room. Neighbors being loud. It's gonna be brief information. I probably should edit this part out, but it's Reaper training. We keep it real. We keep it 100% real. But like I was saying, you know, self reflection is important. Being able to self reflect on your life and to think about yourself and where you are in life and what do you like about yourself. I feel like staying in these relationships that are fucked up with people that are cheating on you or don't treat you right or don't take care of you. A lot of that is just a fear of being alone. You know, in your head, you'd rather be in a relationship with someone who doesn't necessarily, treat you how you think you should be treated because in your mind, well, the only alternative to this is being alone. And that shouldn't be the case. You should be able to enjoy yourself. You know what I mean? One thing that I encourage everybody to do is one day just take yourself out to dinner by yourself. Go out if you got a craving for something. Let's say you're on YouTube or Instagram. You're like, damn, I would love to go try these burrito tacos or something like that. Go out and do that. Go out and try out a new restaurant just by yourself. And people say that's weird, that's not, but you start to it builds confidence first and foremost because that's something that a lot of people can't do. And also what it also does is again it just gives you time to reflect and figure out what it is not that's wrong with you, but what it is that you love about yourself. One thing I notice when I spend time alone is that I'm someone who finds joy in just simple little things. Watching little shows, if I get me a 10-piece wings from America's Best Wings and I put on the wire or something like that, I get excited for that. I'm like, damn, this is awesome. And when you know those things about yourself, then when you get into a relationship, you're not forcing that person that you're with to entertain you all the time. You're not forcing them to, looking at your partner like, hey, make me happy. I think I said this in another podcast, but Will Smith got it right when he said it's not your partner's responsibility to make you happy. Your happiness is your responsibility. And that's deep. And I loved it. So that being said, gyms are for training, clubs are for fun. I know a lot of people, they go out to bars and stuff, and if they don't get 3, 4, 5, 6 numbers, they're like, oh, that club was whack. That shit was dead. Sausage fest. Da da da. Them hoes are stuck up. When I go out, it doesn't matter where I'm going out, to a barbecue, to a club, to a movie theater. My only goal is to enjoy myself. Like I always cringe every time I hear dudes like, when I go out, my only goal is to get some bitches. I'm like, what? Like, just living a life around just trying to bag something all the time. Like, where's you're literally living your life around just getting girls. People go to the gym, they're like, oh yeah, I'm trying to holler at joints. I don't want to go to the gym unless there's girls, a lot of girls that go there, and like you went to that gym for the sole purpose of bettering yourself, to work out, to get bigger, to get gains, and then you're in there focusing on people looking at you or getting some girls. I've never, not once in my life, tried to holler at nobody in the gym because it's like I came here for gains. I came here to be better. Why the fuck am I in here trying to holler at everything that moves? And guys would be so much happy and so much happier if they would just stop evolving everything about around women. You get on Instagram, women. You get on you watch TV, you're watching, half naked females all the time. You go outside, you want to holler at this joint, you want to holler at that joint. You're on Tinder, you're just all over the place, and everything revolves around women. It's like then people wonder why they're so depressed. It's like you don't do anything to feel good about yourself. You know, no one deserves more attention than your. No one deserves your attention more than you. You should be giving yourself your undivided attention. It should be your goal to be the best person that you can be. I really need to get me like a little soundproof room because it just seems like everyone is being a loud dickhead today. I swear to God. God, this is gonna be probably one of my more unprofessional podcasts. Don't worry, Reapers. We'll get a little soundproof room. I might get some of the little foam things for my closet and throw that bitch in there. But yeah, just be happier. Be happy just enjoying your own company in your own time. And that leads me to my next point that I really want to touch on. Is discipline equals happiness. One thing that I could definitely say for myself is I am a way happier individual. I'm a way more calm individual when I'm disciplined. And when I say discipline, like when I'm going to school and I'm going to the gym and I only have, I'm going to work and I only have so many hours just to enjoy myself. I'm disciplining myself. I'm dieting. I'm meal prepping. You naturally feel happier because every little moment that you get to yourself, you cherish that. You take a full advantage of it. You enjoy it more because you know, damn, I'm not gonna have the same opportunity all the time. I'm not always gonna be able to sit down and just loaf on a couch for hours on end. You get more sleep. Being busy. When you finally lay your head on the pillow, you just fall right out. That's the best feeling in the world to me. When I've been working hard and I get home and I lay down and I'm just out immediately. It's like, damn, that's it's the best sleep too because you was really tired. You spent all day working, and discipline is always going to equal more happiness in your life. Discipline equals freedom. That's my favorite saying from if you guys listen to Jocko Willnock, how you pronounce his name? He says that, and I love that saying. Discipline equals freedom. If you are disciplined, you'll have more time in the day because you utilize it a lot better. You'll set schedules for yourself that you have to abide by, and then when you start doing these things, all of a sudden you're free to do what you want. When you're disciplined to say, I'm gonna save this amount of money, you can go on these trips and be fine because you know that you have the funds needed you know to take care of yourself if anything arises. When you're disciplined about your career and you ascend, you have more financial freedom. When you're disciplined about making sure that you're not getting into a relationship with the first person that looks good and treats you all right, then that's relationship freedom. You know, it's just it all correlates together and it's super important. And I will say, you know, this last month and a half that I've been full on starting my fitness journey, introducing discipline in my life has been awesome. That's something that you don't realize how important it is. I was watching The Wire earlier, and one of the dope things that one of the officers said, I think it was in season 4, and they were teachers and they were talking about, kids crave discipline, kids crave structure, and that's why you see kids with parents that don't care about them. They do a lot of things that they lash out almost at the world because they're craving someone to tell them what to do. They're craving that because think about it. It's crazy how you grow up with your parents not caring, but then you join a gang with all these fucking rules. You got to do this, you got to wear that, you can't go here, you can't go there. You're forcing rules into your life. People go into the military to force rules into their life. People crave discipline. you, and when you can give that to yourself without having somebody else tell you to do it, that's something that's special. And that's also another reason why I'm saying that my next relationship will make sure somebody's into fitness and taking care of themselves. Because when you think about it, it's like when you have that type of discipline about yourself, it you have more. I'm gonna do another podcast about I did a video about cheating and things like that, and there's a biological aspect to cheating that I didn't take into account on that last video. I'll talk about that, but there's also a discipline aspect. Are you disciplined enough to have to keep that uh, to keep being faithful to your partner when they're not around? That's real discipline. You have someone who you find attractive that's throwing something your way and you decide not to take that to be disciplined. That shows you're disciplining yourself. You know, it's almost like a turn off when I talk to people and they're like, yeah, I just hate working out because it's like, man, there's so many options that you have to do it. You don't even have to go lift weights. You don't gotta lift weights. You don't gotta run. You can go swimming. I'm not a swimmer. I don't like swimming like that. But you can go swim. You can do like water polo. You can go play pick up basketball. There's so many ways to exercise, and people choose to do nothing. That just bugs me out. It's so many options that you have for yourself. But I rambled on pretty long. I'm probably gonna end this here. Like I said, my next podcast, I think I'm gonna carry on this lifestyle, relationship type of trend. People seem to like a lot. Like when I look at my numbers on here, a lot of that has to do with relationships, the ones that do the best. So this is definitely probably where I'm gonna take the channel as far as the podcast goes. My YouTube channel, like I said, once I get back into, I'm gonna call it camera shape. I'll definitely be making those more often. You can definitely expect those coming from me. And well, Reapers, until next time, man, remember, discipline yourself and stop living for the sake of the opposite sex, men and females. You are good just the way you are. Just to go on one more tangent before I actually get out of here, one thing that bugs me out and it pisses me off is whenever a celebrity says, I don't do big girls, some shit like that, and you go into the fucking comments and everyone is mad at this rapper. Or he'll be like, I don't want to date black girls, and every black girl is in the comments. I'm like, why are you so pressed about one person? There's billions of men in the world, billions of women in the world, and everybody, as soon as, I don't like short dudes, every dude fucking throws a fucking fit. Why do you care? Why do you care? Have an abundance mindset when it comes to people. There's other people out there. When I hear a girl be like, I don't date dudes on a 6 foot, I don't get mad. That's her preference. I don't care. I'm 5'10". Guess what? There's plenty of women that I have dealt with or will deal with that are just fine with me being 5'10". There's plenty of. My preference is I'm not really gonna date nobody that. Well, let me not get into that part. But I have my own preferences. Everyone has a preference. Why do you give a fuck? Stop letting people dictate your life. Stop letting things get you upset that you can't control. You can't control who thinks you're attractive and who you don't, and who doesn't. So just live. I just had to get that part out because that one drives me crazy. I was actually gonna have a whole podcast on 50 Cent has said what he said about black women, and every black woman, black men was mad too. I'm like, y'all do realize that this is not the only man that's out here, right? And there's other successful men that might find you attractive. So what the fuck do you care? I've never heard somebody say or heard a female say, "Oh, you know, I don't do black guys," and I get mad. For what? For what? It all goes back to the same thing. Stop revolving your life around the opposite sex. Cut it out. And if you're someone who you feel like you have to be in a relationship to be happy, then really reflect on enjoying yourself. Spend time alone. Designate days when it's just you. You don't get on the phone. You don't text nobody. You're just to yourself. You're enjoying your own company. You're enjoying your own energy. And you're feeding off of yourself. Take yourself out to dinner. Shit, go on a trip by yourself. I'm not gonna lie. In about a week, I got a plan to go up to DC. I want to go to the Black History Museum and the Smithsonian for Juneteenth. And I've invited friends out. But let me tell you something. If Thursday comes along and no one's coming around, I'm gonna go by myself. I'm gonna go by my damn self. I'm gonna enjoy that museum, and after the fact, I'm gonna go get some food. I might get some drinks. I'm gonna enjoy my entire weekend either by myself or with company, because I am going to enjoy my time regardless. God, it is so fucking loud in this neighborhood this weekend, bro. It's pissed me off. I'm gonna have a soundproof room soon, but again, take that time to enjoy yourselves. Well, Reapers, this is Reaper Motivation. This is the Reaper Motivation Podcast. This is Devontae. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. There will be more content coming, and I'll catch y'all next time. Be easy.